Chapter 1: The Arrival. The documentary opens with the chilling sound of prison gates clanging shut, a jarring welcome to Grayson Penitentiary. Rico, a young man caught in a tragic moment of passion, reflects on his first days behind these gray walls. Walking through that corridor, I felt like a ghost, swallowed by the darkness, he shares, his voice laced with anxiety. The sense of overwhelming fear grips him as he encounters the hardened faces of fellow inmates, each a reminder of his shattered past. Rico navigates the harsh reality of his existence, the constant echo of distant shouts creating a backdrop to his inner turmoil. I made a promise to myself. I will survive, he vows, determined to find strength amid the chaos. The sounds around him, a mix of muffled conversations and the clatter of trays, paint a vivid picture of life in prison, a relentless reminder that everything has changed. Chapter 2: Friendships in Shadows. In the dimly lit corridors of Grayson Penitentiary, friendships bloom in the unlikeliest of places. Maya, a middle-aged inmate with a troubled past, reflects on the bonds she's formed with fellow prisoners. "It's funny," she says softly, her voice mingling with the distant echoes of laughter and whispered secrets. "In here, amidst the concrete and bars, we find compassion. When you're stripped of everything, it's the connections that keep you alive." She shares a story of a late-night conversation with Charisse, another inmate who offered her a shared corner of hope. They traded stories about their lives, laughter cutting through the oppressive silence of the night. In these fleeting moments, Maya discovered vulnerability and loyalty, stark contrasts to the harshness surrounding them. As the sounds of shared laughter fill the air, Maya's heart swells with gratitude. In their shadows, they forge a sanctuary, a flicker of light in an otherwise bleak existence. Chapter 3: Everyday Battles. In the dim light of the exercise yard, Sam's voice quivers as he recounts life's relentless struggles within Grayson Penitentiary. Each day is a new battle, marked by the constant threat of violence and the need for survival. He describes the palpable tension in the air, a world where trust is a rare commodity, and every encounter could spiral into chaos. The echoes of distant shouts and the scuffle of sneakers on concrete serve as a reminder of the precarious line he walks. Sam shares a harrowing tale of a violent confrontation that left him questioning his choices and the life he once led. The psychological toll weighs heavily on him as he grapples with moments of vulnerability. Yet, amidst the turmoil, he finds fleeting solace in the camaraderie of fellow inmates, each fighting their own battles. In these shared experiences, he begins to uncover a glimmer of resilience perhaps worth fighting for. Chapter 4: Dreams of Freedom. As the days blur into weeks, Jordan, a falsely imprisoned artist, offers a glimpse into the power of hope within the walls of Grayson. He recounts how writing became his lifeline, a means to escape the harsh realities of confinement. "In each poem, I found a piece of myself that the world tried to strip away," he shares, his voice resonating with raw emotion. Jordan's words flow like a river, illustrating the beauty and pain of his journey. He describes sharing his writings with fellow inmates, igniting a spark of inspiration among them. As the sounds of pens scratching against paper fill the air, a quiet murmur of contemplation surrounds the yard, creating an atmosphere of reflection and possibility. Each story written becomes a step toward reclaiming their identities, reminding them that even within these walls, dreams can flourish, and freedom is merely a word away. Chapter 5: The Unexpected Mentor. As the sun sets over Grayson Penitentiary, the yard is filled with shadows where inmates seek solace from the day's harsh realities. Owen, an elderly inmate with 3 decades behind bars, shares his journey of transformation from a hardened criminal to a beacon of hope for younger inmates. Once centered around survival, Owen now dedicates his life to mentoring, offering wisdom to those like Rico who are lost in their choices. Through conversations filled with vulnerability, Owen instills lessons of redemption and forgiveness, reminding them that their past does not define their future. His stories resonate deeply, offering a sense of guidance amidst chaos. The ambient sounds of the evening, crickets chirping and distant laughter, create an ethereal backdrop as Owen's voice carries a soothing rhythm, filled with hope and compassion. In this shared space of reflection, the seeds of change are planted, illuminating the path toward a brighter tomorrow. Chapter 6: A Glimpse of Hope. In the dimly lit corner of Grayson Penitentiary's common area, an air of excitement buzzes as inmates gather for a newly introduced rehabilitation program. Maya, Rico, Jordan, and Sam come together, each eager to explore new opportunities amidst the confines of their reality. Maya shares her passion for painting, encouraging others to express their emotions through art. Rico, with newfound enthusiasm, proposes a writing workshop, aiming to channel his experiences onto the page. Jordan, inspired by the power of storytelling, begins to recite his poetry, igniting sparks of creativity among the group. Sounds of laughter and shared encouragement echo, blending with the rhythmic scratching of pens on paper. As the inmates connect over their hobbies, a palpable sense of solidarity emerges. The once cold and oppressive environment starts to feel warmer, igniting a flicker of hope that change is possible, even within the prison walls. Chapter 7. The Weight of Regret. In the hushed corners of Grayson Penitentiary, young inmate Victor shares the burden of regret that shapes his days. Every mistake feels like a shadow, he confesses, his voice heavy with introspection. He remembers the choices that led him here, the stolen moments of youth, whispers of rebellion, and brushes with the law that spiraled out of control. Victor reflects on the loss of friends, family ties severed by his actions, and the haunting absence of his son, whom he longs to see. The sounds of solitude surround him, soft footsteps of guards patrolling the halls and the distant echo of inmates in the yard. In group therapy sessions, he finds solace in vulnerability, confronting the pain of his past alongside others navigating similar storms. Regret isn't just a weight, it's a lesson, he declares, as tears mingle with laughter, embodying the bittersweet journey toward redemption amidst the clanking of metal and echoes of change. In this chapter, we delve into the poignant reflections of Talia, a young woman incarcerated for theft. She speaks emotionally about the strain that her incarceration has placed on her family relationships. Talia's voice trembles as she recalls the last time she saw her mother, a bittersweet memory filled with love and disappointment. Letters exchanged between them serve as lifelines, carrying stories of longing, hope, and heartache. Talia reads a particularly touching letter aloud, her words echoing with the pain of separation, yet infused with gratitude for her family's unwavering support. She discusses how the difficulties of her circumstances have both strained and strengthened these ties. Background sounds of soft whispers and the rustle of paper enhance the intimacy of her reflections, reminding listeners of the enduring connections that persist despite the prison walls. In her final thoughts, Talia conveys a fierce determination to mend her family bonds upon her release, anchoring her hope for the future. Chapter 9. The Reality of Rehabilitation. The sound of chairs scraping against concrete fills the air as inmates settle into their seats for a group discussion on the prison's rehabilitation programs. Marcus, a longtime resident, shares his skepticism about the effectiveness of these initiatives. Sometimes it feels like we're just going through the motions, he admits, his voice steady but tinged with frustration. Other inmates nod in agreement, recounting their experiences. Some find solace and purpose in classes, while others feel trapped in a system that offers little hope for real change. As an instructor passionately explains the program's goals, the atmosphere shifts. Talia, a participant, shares her recent breakthroughs. I learned to bake bread, and it reminded me that I can create something from scratch, she says, a glimmer of pride in her voice. Distant sounds of chalk on the blackboard and conversations mix with the weight of their stories, capturing the tension and hope that envelops these shared moments in the classroom. Chapter 10. Confronting the Past. In this chapter, we meet Leo, a 32-year-old inmate grappling with the weight of his past actions. He recounts a life marked by impulsiveness and poor choices, leading him to incarceration. Through group therapy sessions, he shares raw, unfiltered emotions with fellow inmates. I've hurt people, he admits, voice trembling. Every time I close my eyes, I see their faces. The air is thick with vulnerability as inmates support one another in reclaiming their narratives. Sounds of tears blend with the quiet comfort of shared laughter, a release from long-held pain. As Leo confronts his past, he finds hope for forgiveness, both for himself and those he's wronged. It's not just about serving time, he says. It's about learning to live with myself. The chapter concludes with the emotional crescendo of heartfelt confessions, echoing the powerful notion that healing is possible, even behind bars. Chapter 11. Stories from Solitary. In the oppressive silence of solitary confinement, Lucas shares his haunting journey of isolation. Sentenced to weeks in a small, stark cell, he confronts the mental toll of being cut off from the world. The echoes of his own thoughts become his only companions, swirling around him like a relentless torment. Lucas describes missing the simplest interactions, the sound of laughter, the camaraderie of peers, even the mundane clatter of mealtime trays. In his reflections, he reveals how solitude morphs into both a prison and a sanctuary, forcing him to confront his past decisions and the ghosts that linger within. Moments of clarity pierce through despair, leading him to write letters to himself, crafting a narrative of hope amidst darkness. The audio captures the unsettling ambiance of series of heavy breathing and distant murmurs from other inmates, accentuating the profound weight of his loneliness, yet hinting at an ember of resilience waiting to ignite. Chapter 12. The Everything Bakery. In a corner of Grayson Penitentiary, the aroma of freshly baked bread wafts through the air, a comforting reminder of normalcy amid the chaos. The culinary program, affectionately dubbed the Everything Bakery, becomes a sanctuary for inmates like Maya, Rico, and Jordan, who eagerly gather in the kitchen, flour dusting their hands and laughter dancing in the air. Together, they discover a sense of purpose and creativity as they knead dough and whip up sweet treats. Maya reflects on how sharing meals fosters connections, turning adversaries into allies. Breaking bread is breaking barriers, she muses, as she and Rico bond over their shared love for pastries. The sounds of clattering pans and the joyful chatter fill the room, echoing the rhythm of hope and camaraderie. In these moments, the inmates create not just food, but also memories, savoring the taste of freedom found in togetherness and cooperation. Chapter 13. Building a Future. As the sun begins to set over Grayson Penitentiary, a palpable sense of anticipation fills the air. The inmates gather for a discussion on their aspirations for life after release. Rico shares his dreams of becoming a mechanic, fueled by the hope of repairing not just cars but also his fractured life. Maya expresses her wish to advocate for reform, wanting to turn her past struggles into a platform for change. The sounds of chairs shifting and pens scratching on paper punctuate their conversations, imbuing the room with a sense of urgency and resolve. Outside, the distant echoes of laughter filter in, reminding them of a world waiting beyond the prison gates. Jordan voices his fears of reintegration, but the camaraderie in the room provides comfort. In a moment of shared vulnerability, they acknowledge that while the future may be uncertain, their collective strength can carve a path toward redemption. Hope intertwines with determination, as aspirations take flight against all odds.